What's up, T?
What's up, man? Long time no see.
Man, it's been a minute, hasn't it? Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of Movies with the Homies. We ain't did this in about, I can't even remember the last time we did this together, bro.
I want to say about 7 since Thor, right? Thor. We ain't did this since Thor.
It was, you're right. It was. It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute, but I'm glad we was able to get back in. We had, some technical difficulties trying to get everything on track. But now we are back, and we got a lot to catch up on, a lot to discuss. Everybody, keep in mind, me and T talk all the time. We talk about all the stuff that I see on my videos, y'all see on the videos, and T is right there with me on a lot of stuff. But right now, we're going to jump into a couple of topics that just dropped in the last couple of days, especially this one, T. I wanted to go ahead and get your opinions on this. I didn't even want to do a video on this until I heard from you. So the first one we're going to talk about, man, Captain Marvel 2 in trouble. The new rumors report the sequel problems. Okay, me and you know that we, when it comes to Captain Marvel, man, we are not fans of this movie, the original whatsoever, okay? It was a lot of SJW nonsense, and we just was like, I'm not feeling this whatsoever, okay? So I want to get your take. Just when you hear Captain Marvel 2 is in trouble, it's kind of like, yeah, of course it's in trouble. Is water wet? Of course it's in trouble, right? Because this movie was kind of doomed from the start with this particular actress in it. And then, of course, you add that Miss Marvel in it. And then I don't necessarily have a problem with Monica Rambeau. You know, she's cool, but I don't know if she was necessarily what this film needed in order to get it kicked off. So, all right, T, you go ahead and give me your thoughts and your opinions on that.
And look at that picture of her. Her nostrils are flared out. She just pissy. I'm moody. Why do
she look pissed?
Uninteresting character, and you got two of them. You got two. You'd be better off calling this the Photon movie. She looks like a better character than this, and I mean, and that's setting the bar low. You know what I mean? This is not something that I'm geek for. I will see it, man, because I like to see story, but you know, it's just a micro of the macro. The bigger picture is Hollywood is having a hard time telling story and making it believable. And you've got a backup problem with post. This thing has been, how many times has this thing been pushed back, D?
Man, shoot. I think it goes into it in this article. Let me check it out real quick. I think it talks about that. It says here, like, Snyder. No, now this is where it was coming from. Jeff Snyder, you know who Jeff Snyder is, right?
Yeah, great. Respect it.
All right, so he says basically the Marvels may be in trouble, referring to the development as just a shit show and a kind of chaos. So it was originally, it was recently delayed from July 28 to November 10, okay? But it had already previously swapped dates back from February with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania to take over that July 28 date. And I think this is probably like the third or fourth time this thing has been kicked down the road. So you start wondering, like, wait a minute, why is this thing constantly getting bumped back?
Right, you know what I mean? Come back last year. So last year, excuse me. But hey, it just hasn't been. It's not that even it's the character. What they're trying to do. We spoke about this a little earlier, D. You're trying to force characters in a non-organic way. I didn't like another movie that we're going to talk about later on that forced something in there, and it just didn't seem organic, and the storytelling seems a bit lazy. I think that's the trouble that Hollywood is having with these movies, is they're not putting things in organically. It's very lazy. It's, oh man, I'm almost at the home plate. There's no need to dive, but they're diving for home plate when nobody's home to protect the plate. Matter of fact, you're not even playing the game. You're just practicing, and you're not hitting the ball in a position for people to win. You're not even getting people on base. You know what I mean? So when we watch these things get slid back, it's just an indication of lack of story, lack of character development, which they are totally bypassing at this point. No, we saw that in what? We saw that in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. No character development, just let's speed by because we just got to make these money machines.
Look, bro, you already know I ain't even seen that movie. I have no idea what that movie is about, okay? I'm not watching it. I'm not watching Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, never. And it's just because of the disrespect that Marvel played in that movie. I'm not doing that, you know? I'm not watching that movie. But you're right about, like, there's such a problem with the development of characters in all of these Marvel movies, you know, like this recent Ant-Man movie. It's like, okay, what was the purpose of Wasp? Why was Wasp in this movie? Wasp didn't need to be. It's called Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Wasp is in it for like 10 minutes, and she really doesn't have anything to do with it. And I heard this thing, terrible test screenings, okay? Terrible test screenings. Nobody likes this Captain Marvel 2. All right, or the Marvels. And then that goes into the problems is that he says down here, Brie Larson, noting that the star was upset that this movie was called the Marvels. It is a title designed to allude to the team up. And she's mad, okay?
I don't blame her. I don't blame her. It should be about her. It should be her movie. It should be her movie.
You really think that this chick deserved another movie after Captain Marvel 2?
It's not her fault.
I mean, Captain Marvel? Come on, bro.
Her fault. I actually liked her when she came in Endgame. It's not her fault, dude. Come on, they didn't line her up well with the movies. They didn't. Her importance. That movie that came out in 2000, what was that? 18 should have came out. It should have, for all intents, it came out 2019, I think, or 2018. It
was 2019. It was right before Endgame.
For all intents purposes, that movie should have came out in 2013 at the latest. It was too little, too late.
Y'all see what I'm talking about, folks? The TV out here.
Y'all doing too much. Y'all doing too much because you're not letting the audience warm up. Come on, hey, you act like that Thor 1 was great or that Thor 2. No,
Thor 2 wasn't that hot. I didn't like Thor 2. I wasn't a fan of Thor 2.
But say Iron Man 3 was hot fire. Come on, that was
look, T. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna tell you what the problem was. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you what the problem was, or the problem is with this Captain Marvel 2, okay? Because as they said right here, okay, flipping over, the Marvel's reportedly a shit show. Entire project in trouble as Brie Larson is not upset. It's not called Captain Marvel 2. It's too much damn estrogen on this set. That's the problem, okay? You got 3 women leads, all right? You got 2 female writers and a female director. It's too much estrogen in this thing, all right? That's the problem. They need some men. I'm just joking, folks. But I mean, I think that's the major issue is that this chick right here has a major attitude problem, man. And it seems like she's always carried this attitude, this little chip on her shoulder ever since the first one. You remembered all of those interviews that she was doing. Well, this isn't made for the 40-year-old white male. Well, the 40-year-old white male was the dude that was buying all of the comic books back in the day. So what are you talking about? You make this for people that don't even watch the movies in her head. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the problem is that this chick always had kind of a chip on her shoulder. She has a bad attitude. All right. And you know that Tiana Paris wasn't playing with that. She probably threw it in her face a couple of times. Bitch, this is called the Marvel. Okay.
It boils down to bad marketing too.
It's bad all the way around, man. That's just the way Marvel is.
They need their heavy hitters. They need their heavy hitters. They need phase 1, 2, and 3. Those hitters to come out and endorse this. They never embraced this character. So because they haven't embraced this character, she's a non-issue. She's on an island by herself, right? And you've got to forward something different. Nobody knows about, here's this important chick that just all of a sudden came out of nowhere. It's like it doesn't.
They didn't set it up right.
Right. They didn't set it up well, and they're not doing anything to set it up well.
But I think that the fandom would feel a lot better if this actress was a lot better. She's not doing this film any favors with some of her interviews and some of the stuff that she's been, talking about. She's not doing this film any help. She's not doing it any favors, bro.
I really don't think. I think they've got a reputation for the most part recently of making bad films, trying to put female characters into male-driven scenes, and it's not working well because characters are coming across as crass and not classy. You're trying to make them all the same and not making them feminine in a way that makes it say, okay, man, she still got this. Like, I wouldn't know this lady has her period. I wouldn't know that. It just seems so emotional. Whereas
they don't embrace it. And what you're saying is basically they don't embrace the femininity of these female characters. They're just making them as masculine as possible, which is kind of a trend these days. You're absolutely correct about that.
Right. And it shows because you're trying to make a sexual being neutral to a group of men who are visual creatures who have desires. I want to see.
I think that Marvel, I think Marvel has this idea that they're going to reshape, and that's all of Hollywood, really. They're going to reshape society by showing all of these various people in different ways to make people feel, women can get it done, like the whole girls get it done stuff. You see that crap coming up all the time. And it's like, okay, I get that girls can go out there and do all of this stuff. Okay, we understand that, but is that really their nature? Is that really what they're trying to do? I don't think so. Most women would not feel comfortable doing some of these heroic acts. Okay, it's good to cheer it on if you see some other woman do it, but most women would never do it. Okay, a guy like running into a burning building to save somebody from dying or say, okay, is there a woman that would go out and do some type of a heroic act like that? Sure,
but do you see
what's be the vast majority of women out there? Of course not.
Do you see what's happening here? I'm having to explain this character. I don't have to explain that with Tony Stark. I don't have to explain that with Black Widow. I don't have to explain. There's a lot of explaining that needs to be done here. And I don't feel like it's necessary. You're trying to calcify the fact that men are visual creatures and they want to see somebody they can respect on screen. Because she has an attitude doesn't mean that I respect her. You know what I mean? Who would have done a great service to this? Great movie that I like was G.I. Jane with Demi Moore. Man, she was in a badass role, right? But you never thought, oh, okay, that's hot ass Demi Moore like that. She just played. She knew her craft, and I
like that. Yeah.
I
mean, we've seen like great female like action heroes. We always talk about Ripley from the Alien series or Sarah Connor from the Terminator series. Everybody brings them up. But you had, like Xena Warrior Princess. We had her, man. You even had like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And they always exuded femininity, okay? And this character right here, as you just said, she is the opposite of that, okay? She's very masculine. She's very kind of like on her edge all the time, like, what's wrong with you, chick? Settle down, calm down, everything gonna be all right. We get that from this character, and that's one of the things that comes through the actress, because the actress is kind of like that. She's very uncomfortable in interviews. She's very brash, and I don't think that it fits, with this particular, character. I don't think it works at all for audiences. I don't think audiences want to see a female that's, very in your face and very angry and very emotional about it. And then, like I said, the project itself, she's upset because of the title of the movie. Like, come on, like, that's crazy to me. I get, that Captain Marvel didn't go the way she wanted it to go. Okay, in terms of, popular appeal. Okay, that thing only did $1 billion because it was right before Endgame, and that's the only reason. All right, outside of that, this movie is just like Ant-Man or some other movie. It's not that great. But I think that the problems with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, all of the different things that they're trying to push, the feminism that comes through, especially when we saw She-Hulk, I mean, that movie was just, or that television show was just unbearable. Okay. And this feels like it's going to be more of that.
See, one moment here. Let me just say something. I'm going to say the elephant in the room that Marvel has got. Okay. You're trying to build up a whole nother phase. Phase 4, phase jive, phase fix. Right? We're trying to build up this whole thing without connecting all the dots. The problem is you built up such a climactic ending that everybody wants you to say consistent. And now you're trying to break down those sandcastles and build them up again. And the audience doesn't have time, because I don't want to shift through what I got in phase 4 to get to phase 6 and say, oh, okay, now I get the payoff. I don't want that. Give me payoff every time. And give me payoff that makes sense with the story. You cannot do a legacy, a build-up climax, Infinity War and Endgame, and even hell, you even pulled it off. Look what happened when you pulled it out for Spider-Man and you merged those things. Yep. You are going to have to include all your characters in these movies to get the $1 billion you're looking for. Look what happened to Thor. Look what happened.
You can't. But T, you saying that you got to put all of these characters in every movie?
Yes, I want to see comic book movie. If
that's not gonna work, bro. That's not gonna work. They can't afford it. They can't afford it. This is an affordability thing.
They can't afford it. They can't afford it monetarily and just tangibility wise because of the story. They cannot do it. They don't have enough story that they can put in movies to say boom, boom. They can't. You can't do 1 and 2. you're going to have to put out movies from now on, part 1, part 2, because there's too much story.
Okay, well, you know what? Let's shift gears real quick, because that's the next step. Okay, talking about Phase 5, Phase 6, all of that, the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Right. Bob Iger had some questions on the Marvel sequels. He says you're going to bring back characters, but you're going to see a lot of newness. Okay, and one of the questions that he had, I'm gonna skip down to it right here. He brought this up. Okay, he says, Marvel, there's 7,000 characters and a lot of stories to tell. Okay, said what we have to look at Marvel is not necessarily the volume of Marvel storytelling, but how many times we go back to the well on certain characters. Sequels typically do well for us, but do you need a third or a fourth, or is it time to turn to other characters? I think this is the problem right here, is that Marvel is making 3 and 4 movies about a single character, where maybe they only need to make 2 movies. Okay, you establish these guys, and then now you start putting them in team ups. You put them in the Avengers, because look at this last Ant-Man movie. This is the 3rd Ant-Man movie that came out. This thing is going to lose money. This thing is going to lose a lot of money. All right, and like Bob Iger has to be sitting around like, why did we make this shit? Like, what the fuck are we doing making a 3rd Ant-Man movie and spending $200 million on that movie, and then we ain't gonna make a dime off of that? Wait, what's going on here? Okay. And I already did a video about that, okay? But I want you to give your comments on this concept that maybe Marvel only needs to do a couple of movies for each individual character, and then that'll be better money well spent in a way, right? Okay, we could take this $200 million that we was about to put into a 3rd movie over here, and we're going to slide that over into a completely different character and start building up that IP. What do you think about that?
So what I think about that is that, yes, I agree. It's what I said before in the previous segment. You're going to have to connect the dots. I'm going to do, let's say, blah, 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 man. It's a great movie that does, let's say, $600 to $700,000, $600 to $700 million. And then I'm going to have to connect it to out of nowhere person, you know, and I'm going to have those movies link up so that it can be a chain mail smoking thing. And I don't want to have to wait to the end credits to get that. It needs to blend more. You need to have an overall picture of what you want to do, a connect the dots issue to make me say, wait a minute, I need to go back to phase this movie and phase this to see this, to make sure that, oh man, it's all relative. The connective tissue in this thing is not adding up because they're not adding the DNA like they need to. They're not starting from scratch. And it's such a bad plot line. Excuse me, they are starting from scratch, but they're not connecting the characters the way they need to be character. And the reason why you got more questions than you got answers. You're saying, wait a minute, why did you make this Ant-Man and Marvel to show off Kang? You could have did that. He did that in Loki.
They did that in Loki. That was my point. They did that in Loki. Like, well, so what did we get out of this thing?
You didn't get anything. You know what you got? You got Ant Girl. Here's the beginning of Ant Girl. What you got was a
character nobody cared about and nobody will care about after this movie. That nobody cared about her in the movie.
Right. But what you really got was, hey, this is a movie that, hey, what you got was this is the part of the movie that isn't really going to make sense. It's not going to add up to the long term of what you do, right? It's not. It's just not going to do that at all. It's how can it be something that it's not, right? It just doesn't make sense. It's a movie that is where does it say, hey, I want to see part 1 and I want to see part 2, and it's going to lead to that other thing that we're leading up to. It's not. So for us as movie fans to say, man, where's the payoff here? What did that mean to watch that movie? It's not there, dude. It's not.
There's no payoff. And we're so used to the trilogy.
The nerd community.
Yeah, but we're so used to that trilogy setup, right? Everybody expects 3 movies. You know, we're used to that trilogy. Like there's a part 1, part 2, part 3. There's your trilogy. You got 3 films. That works, I think, outside of a cinematic universe perfectly fine. Okay. But when you're inside of a cinematic universe and these guys are kind of connected with a whole lot of other films, they're showing up in post-credit scenes, or they're making cameos, or they maybe even do a full team up with the particular character, like kind of how you saw with Thor, or not Thor, Doctor Strange, where you have Wanda in there, and then you bring in this America Chavez character, but it's a Doctor Strange movie. You can do that, all right? But if it doesn't work, then number one, you've messed this other character up, right? Like, it worked really well with Civil War when you introduced Black Panther, okay? You introduced Black Panther in the Civil War. That worked out great, all right? And then that set Black Panther up for his own movie. We already got kind of his story. We know who the character is. All right, now we can move on and go and tell that particular story. But then if you set up like like I was saying with America Chavez, and I mean, that's a character I don't really care about. A lot of people don't really care about. So they did that character no justice, because they kind of put her in there and she's just kind of, all right, you just kind of here, but it's really not an interesting character that people are into or people are trying to watch and pay attention to. Oh, I can't wait to see this America Chavez movie, right? So I think
it's a forgettable character. She's a forgettable.
Oh yeah, 100% forgettable. Like, it took me a minute to remember who was this other chick that they threw in there besides Wanda. Oh yeah, it was America Chavez. All right, and again, what are the plans for her? I don't know. I don't know what Marvel plans to do with these characters that they've thrown around and introduced. They did a lot of work in Phase 4, man. Like Phase 4, they introduced so many people, and I mean, how many of these movies are you really interested in watching? You know what I mean? Like, how many of these cats are you really interested? Like, oh man, I can't wait to see this movie. Okay, none. Or like Moon Knight. Are you interested in Moon Knight showing up in the movie?
Oh my God, I forgot all about that dumb show.
That's what I'm talking about. Man, Marvel has a lot of stuff on the plate, and it's like you ever sit down and you're looking at a plate of food, and it's like, damn, man, this looks like a lot of food. I don't think I even want half of this stuff on here. You start just kind of moving stuff off your plate. That's what Marvel has right now.
Yeah, it's like me on Thanksgiving when my mom used to bring out all that kind of stuff, that turkey and the stuff, and I'm like, this food is disgusting. Ugh, right. I don't want this. I don't eat that nasty stuff.
I want the turkey, the ham, and the mashed potatoes, or the turkey, the ham, and the sweet peas, or the sweet potatoes. That was it.
No, get it away. You know what I would do? You know what I would do, D? I would do this. Put it in a napkin, dude. Throw it away. It's nasty.
She ain't looking, just yeah, man. But yeah, that's real talk. That's real talk, man. That's what Marvel has right now. Marvel has that kind of an issue where they have too many characters. And I understand where Bob Iger was coming from. Let me go back to this article real quick. Hold up. Shit. Oh, hold on. Skipping ahead. Okay. I understand where he was coming from with this. He says there's nothing in any way inherently off in terms of the Marvel brand. He's right. There's nothing wrong with Marvel. Marvel is the stories and the characters. There's nothing wrong with these characters. What's wrong is the way Disney is approaching these characters, because they don't know what they're doing right now. They have no clue as to what they're doing with these characters. They don't know how to introduce them. They don't know which. And then they say, well, he says, I think we have to look at what characters or stories we're bringing in. It's like, no, man, you got to look at who's making this crap. Because the people that are making this stuff right now, they're not doing any justice, even with the good characters that they got.
I think, and I'll close it off with this.
Yeah.
I think what they're trying to do under the previous regime after Bob Iger left was they were trying to maximize their products, because they're trying to get people back in the seats to make any and everything. And I appreciate that. As a consumer, as a fan of what they do, I appreciate it. However, I want good content, not bad content.
Right.
You're flooding the market with things too fast without the type of quality that's necessary.
Quality over quantity.
Right. I'm having to wait all year to see Loki. I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see Loki.
Oh, okay. You looking forward to Loki, huh?
Looking forward to Loki. I'm a Loki fan. I like the Loki. It was great.
Okay.
I love something that can make me think. But they've got to clean up what I get what he's doing. He's saying, man, I gotta shuffle the deck so bad, so hard that it gives you space to take in something new that we promise is going to be what we need. But this Happy Meal approach that they're trying to give existing fans is awful, because
you know what? Hold up, that's a term you use a lot. Explain Happy Meal to the people that haven't watched before.
Sure. So the Happy Meal approach is what the big Mickey D's does, right? Mickey D's does what? I give them the Happy Meal because I'm trying to get the customer later, right? I'm trying to build up, and I don't feel like that's necessary when your meal's already prepped. I'm the parent. I'm the nephew. I get to talk to my nieces and nephews and let them know, hey, look, man, once upon a time, that's what storytelling is all about. Hey, man, check out this movie. It was a great movie in the 80s called Ghostbusters. You're going to like it. You're going to love it. They don't need to know. They know, oh man, that's what my dad and my uncle would talk about. Boom. Hey, here's the cartoon. Here, I'm letting you know. I'm building it up to it.
You're building the audience, right? A Happy Meal, that's you start them as they're young, you give them the Happy Meal, and then you start building the audience. You start getting them hooked on McDonald's, or you get them hooked on the stuff that you are trying to sell to them. So down the road, you got adults that ate their first Happy Meal when they was 5, and now they're eating all of the McDonald's, everything else, and that's how you begin. You start them young, okay?
And what they're trying to do is they're trying to sell books, not comic books. That's the problem.
Well, they're trying to sell merch. Is really what they want to sell. They want to sell merchandise
without the comic books. You need the comic books. You need the comic books to solidify.
I think comic books kind of just serve as, like I enjoy comic books. You enjoy comic books. I think comic book fans do. But the way Disney looks at it, it's just like low rent research and development. They just got these. They got these guys just making comics, and it's like, okay, which one of these things are we gonna actually promote to the next level? Okay, all of these various characters, like he says, he's talking about here, we got 7,000 characters. Okay, which one of these are gonna catch with the audience, and then we can take off. All right, now let's put it in a cartoon. Oh, people like the cartoon. Okay, now let's put it in a TV show. Oh wow, everybody liked the TV show. Okay, now it goes to the movies. But some of these things tap out at the comic level. Some of them tap out at the cartoon level. They just never take off.
If you watch their cartoon series that came out a few years ago about Avengers, they put characters in there, right? But it doesn't necessarily work because it's a cartoon, because it doesn't gel well. Some personalities in those cartoons, they don't mix, and what happens when you do oil and water, right? They don't work well together. So I feel like this is just a learning lesson for them. Do we want to go through it? No. You see that happening with Disney products with that last phase of Star Wars. It was crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
They Disneyfied it.
They don't have a clear direction, and I think that's basically where Bob Iger is coming out, trying to figure out what the direction is going to be going forward. All right, folks.
You ruined this.
Your thoughts and your opinion. Oh wait,
you ruined this.
DuckTales was great, man. DuckTales was great back in the day. Everybody, give me your thoughts and your comments below in regards to Marvel. Let's move on to the next topic. All right. So this one we pulled up. So I'm bounding in the comics. Shazam. Hey, man, chill out, T. We gonna get through this one, man. T don't like Shazam, y'all. This dude does not like Shazam at all. The box office outlook looks abysmal, according to Bounding in the Comics. And I like the first Shazam. I don't know why T doesn't like this film. Okay, this film is it's an entry-level film for kids and adults alike. You can have a lot of fun with it. I get it. T just don't like children. That's really what it is. Any children that show up in a movie, T is like, man, get these kids off the screen, man. That's all it is.
When have I not been proven right? When? We just talked about Ant-Man. They got that damn kid in the movie. It kills it. Don't get me started on Deadpool 2. And don't get me started up on this. You disrespect this Shazam. Shazam is one of the granddaddies next to the big guy.
But you still got the Marvel family, bro. You got the Marvel family. How you gonna bring them in?
What?
The Marvel family, man. That's a part of his legacy.
Cut it out. Cut it out. Nobody is checking for this. Nobody.
Yeah, that's what they saying, man. They saying nobody's checking for it. It says box office tracking on Box Office Pro. Basically said toward the end of February, predicting the film would only have an opening weekend of $43 to $52 million domestic.
It's going to do lower than that. It's going to do $35 million. Man. It's going to do $35 million. And the
I'm actually stunned at that, man. I'm just actually stunned.
At 120. It's going to tap out at 120. You know why? Because this is basura. This is not a good movie. Because you know what? There's no Dwayne.
You ain't even seen the movie yet, man. How you gonna say it's fair?
Who wants to see them? Who wants to see this?
This movie gonna be lit, man.
No, hey, man, you better stop that. You better stop it, damn it.
Well, folks, I need to bring back why T was wrong about that?
Yeah, bring back that segment. This is trash.
T was completely convinced that Top Gun Maverick wasn't gonna do nothing. He said, "This ain't gonna do nothing, man. Nobody's into this patriotic stuff." I said, "I don't know, T. It might be all right, man. That thing was the movie of the year."
I still haven't seen it, and I won't see it because I'm not a Top Gun guy. That's boring to me,
and that's fine. No, there's nothing wrong. If that's not your thing, nothing wrong with that. But you said nobody's going to see.
You like that vampire? Come on, man. That guy's a vampire. That's the same guy who did. Most of these people watching haven't seen the movie Legend. Come on, man. Get this back to Shazam. Come on, man.
I think Shazam is going to do. I don't know what it's going to do. Honestly, I don't. Now there was a rumor. Did you hear about Wonder Woman showing up in it?
Let's not do spoilers to him, D. Come on, man.
It's not a spoiler, man. It's just it's a TV spot. They put it out there.
There's no way I would pub this. This is another dumb group, DC, who won't put other people in their freaking comic book movies that are all about team and all about Justice League team ups and like do something. She should have been in the first one. Why?
I mean, Fury of the Gods. It makes sense to have. You can fit the Amazonians in, so it absolutely makes sense for her to have an appearance in this.
They want to do an SI team up swimsuit edition on this one just to bring the chicks in. I mean, it's great. You got to do visual eye candy, but guess what? Everybody watching is like, for what? You're not going to drive girls to see this movie. I
don't think this is going to. I think this is going to have the same effect that the Henry Cavill cameo in Shazam had, where people were like, "Oh, that's cool," but are they really going to come see it?
What? This is the she economy that they're trying to attack. And you women have to be careful on this because they're trying to pull you into something. They say, yeah, I'm just like one of the guys. I'm just like you. No. Without character development, this sucks.
Yep. It sucks. I'm glad you said it. And I'm glad you said that, T, because it's the reason why, it's probably the reason why this film, it felt like it needed it. So you got to have, you kind of ask, like, well, why did they push Wonder Woman into this? Probably because they felt they needed to help this movie along. Okay, remember, this is another movie that's been bumped back. All right, all of these DC films was bumped back almost a full year in some cases. I think this one was bumped back from December up until now, so it got a 3-month bump back, but that's enough time to shoot a couple of scenes with Gal Gadot. I think, again, just like with Henry Cavill, they stopped what they were doing, inserted a character into this film in order to sell it, okay? And so, look, a week before the movie drops, they confirmed that she's in the film, all right? So when you go back to the Bounding in the comic stuff, and they're talking about, this thing looks abysmal, I'm kind of getting the same impression just because of how they did this Wonder Woman thing, just shoving her right in there. They had to feel like we needed it.
I heard this movie tested well. However, I don't think it's going to have enough fan base to go. You're coming out a week after Scream. You're coming out 2 weeks after Creed. You're not going to have a lot going for yourself to make people be like, man, I need to go and check out this movie. Yeah. It's not any good, man. That guy does not scream box office presence, dude. That's why they're trying to put the supporting cast around him, because he doesn't come off as, well, okay, that is a superhero.
This thing, people like this movie, right? I mean, I know you don't like the movie, but people like Shazam, the original Shazam. People liked it.
I like Shazam. I just don't like the freaking character. You wasted Mark Strong, who should have been Lex Luthor. You have him to play Doctor, what is his name? I don't know, man. It just
Savanis, he should have been Lex. He could have been a lot of different things, man.
Lex Luthor, man. You like totally blew it, dude. And you're not doing. What would have made more sense to me is if at the end of this movie there's an end credit when you got Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, you've got Wonder Woman, you got Zachary Levi. Hey, folks, listen, we're so sorry you didn't get what you were looking for in our first, but we're going to make things right. And I promise you, DC has things to come. Just a small 2-minute promo would do wonders for this brand who has the best comic book content ever. And it's so sad because it's a joke. It's a joke of what it is.
I mean, look, we're DC guy. I got a Marvel hat on, of course, but I'm a DC guy 130%. I mean, that's how me and you started talking about. We started talking about DC. You know, that's how we got talking about this stuff back in the day. We got started on DC.
And I respect Marvel for giving them the space to kind of fill it out, man. I think Marvel has been nothing but a class act when it comes to them, man, because they want DC to do well, dude.
I mean, everybody who's not angry, or I don't know, like I don't know anybody who doesn't want in the nerd community we're talking about, who doesn't want DC to be good, DC to do well. They love Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. They love the Justice League. That's what we want. We want this stuff to be great, and we want DC to do justice by the Justice League and all this stuff. So nobody's mad or angry at Marvel at all. You know, in anything, we look at Marvel like, well, damn, how come we can't be like, these guys over here? That's kind of the issue, And now the question is, what is James Gunn going to do? Okay, is he going to get this thing kind of on the right track? What do you think, T?
No, I don't think he's going to get it on the right track because they're not doing enough damage control. You've offended the fan base that has been loyal to you over the last few years, and you can see that you offended them with Black Adam. You need to do something different than Disney.
What? I jumped the gun because we have that as our next topic. But folks, what do you think about Shazam? Basically, not going to get the pop in the box office that DC probably expects. I mean, it's looking like it's going to be a bad move all the way around. Now they've thrown this Wonder Woman cameo at us just so we can go, let's all rush to the theaters to see this cameo. It kind of feels again. Now, it's the same situation. You got to keep in mind, same situation that you saw with Henry Cavill. They throw this little bait at you. Are you going to bite it? Okay. If you go and you flock in and you see Shazam and that takes the box office through the ceiling, maybe if you wanted Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot to hang around as Wonder Woman, they might consider it. Okay. They might consider it because up until now, the box office tracking has looked bad. So if all of a sudden we throw this Wonder Woman cameo out there and then the box office tracking takes off, maybe they'll say, okay, well, if you guys care about Wonder Woman, that's the only difference we see. And maybe they might go ahead and put that Wonder Woman movie out there, or at least bring Gal Gadot back and let her play Wonder Woman once again. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments below. T, we're going to get on to the next topic. And that's all about James Gunn. And James Gunn, so here we go with Forbes saying basically James Gunn is directing Superman Legacy. Okay. He's going to be the guy directing it. And a lot of people were like, okay, James Gunn is writing Superman Legacy, so be it. All right. He's a decent writer, but we don't know what he's going to do in terms of the movie itself. He's just writing it. Okay. But directing the movie, now you're talking about a whole different kettle of fish. Okay. We talking about like this guy is going to be lock, stock, and barrel the entire creative thrust of this Superman film. And we've seen James Gunn films, okay? We've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, all right, and part 1 and part 2. We're about to see part 3 in a couple of months, all right? We've seen the Suicide Squad, okay? We've seen Peacemaker, all right? We know what James Gunn is about when it comes to comic book stuff. We saw all of his old stuff, okay? Like right before he did Guardians, he did Super, all right? So this guy knows comics. I have nothing but confidence that he knows comic books, but it's his style that I'm worried about, okay? Because he has a unique style. And is he going to do like a truth, justice, and American way Superman? Like, what are we going to get out of this guy? And Supes is our number one hero, me and you. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts on what you think of James Gunn, rumors so far being the guy that directs Superman Legacy.
I don't think it's going to be a bad movie. I think that it's going to be Henry Cavill-less. And that's the problem.
That's the number one problem.
That is the big overall problem. It's going to be hard for me to take in a new Superman. Even when Cavill took over, it took me a long time to get used to him being Superman. I think that's going to probably be the issue. It's going to hurt them. They should not expect $1 billion at the gate. They should expect
no.
450 and like 560 max. I think it's way too little, too late. I don't think you're not doing anything to pub Superman up. Within that 2 year span, you should have cartoons that say, "Hey man, Superman," and have them look like a buff. Like, this is the man. Henry Cavill is the embodiment of Superman.
Right.
Looks like you ripped him off the comic book cover. I mean, he just is awesome, man. I mean, like, I don't know. I wish this movie nothing but the best, and I know James Gunn is going to direct a great movie. I'm interested to see who's going to play Superman, dude. I want DC to be great. I want to see their stories come out. If anybody is going to tell a great story, it's going to be James Gunn, man. He knows how to tell story. He knows how to direct. We saw what he did in Peacemaker, man. You got to trust it, man, and say, it is what it is. I need to get out of my feelings as a Superman fan, as a Cavill fan. And
I think both of us felt that hurt. You know, it's like, wait a minute, man. Cavill just showed up. He just came back, right? He was here. Black Adam. He's finally back on screen in the suit. Let's go. You know, that's how we felt. And then just to have that pulled out from underneath us, I feel like pushing this movie all the way to 2025 was a smart move, because it will allow people to kind of get those things out of their system. At least some, not everybody. Some folks will never get over that, you know, because Man of Steel trilogy, which I am part of that group. I wanted my Man of Steel trilogy.
But D, remember what I said? You heard it here first. 2025 is going to be the year of the comeback for movies, great movies. You're going to go through a little renaissance that we'll probably talk about in another segment about. It's going to be a stretch from 23 to 25 about, you know, movies. It's going to be a lot of remakes, man. A lot of remakes that's going to just bombarding you over the head with remakes. You're like, why did you even touch that? You know?
Yeah.
But I think this movie is a reboot, not a remake or a reboot. So I'm happy.
Yeah, it's a reboot. It's a total reboot of the entire franchise, which I mean, I don't know if it needed that, you know. I don't know where he's going, you know. I'm intrigued by, okay, James Gunn, I've liked some of your work, okay. I don't think I liked Guardians 2 as much, you know. I think that, and then this little Guardians special, the holiday special, I wasn't really feeling that either, okay. I like the original Guardians, I like Suicide Squad, I like Peacemaker, okay. And then, you know, he's been a writer in Hollywood for years, okay, so he's written all kinds of stuff. I'm not sure if I'm feeling like, where are you going with Superman? You know, we already kind of had an established Superman. Henry Cavill, he's here. He's set. People are used to him. All right, let's go tell Superman stories. We don't have to start with any kind of origin story. All right. We don't have to introduce him and all of his new people and who and his world and everything, because even though he says it's not going to be an origin story, it's going to be origin for us as the audience. Okay. The audience is going to be looking at that. It's like, okay, here's the new guy. Here's the new Lois. Here's the new Perry White. Here's the new Jimmy Olsen. Okay. And then whatever villain he's bringing in, that's going to be new too. All right. And when you had Henry Cavill and you had all of his cast of characters established, you could just go forward and tell stories. You didn't have to sit up there and set anything up. So I'm trying to figure out, like, what is so special about starting Superman at the age that he's talking about? What's so special about that? Why couldn't you just use Henry Cavill? Or, you know, is it because I needed a 26, 28-year-old Superman? I had to have a guy in that time frame because of X. I want to know what X is. That's where I'm at right now with it.
I think the reason why is because people have lost their patience with the fact that you're not putting out the kind of quality.
I can't hear you, bro.
You're not pulling the, you know, you don't have the kind of quality that's needed to take chances like you do. And it's overall, it's left things flat. You know how you leave out soda, man, you know, at a bottle, man, and the carbonation goes away. That's how you feel about DC, man. The carbonation is going around. You did a bunch of hits and misses, man. We thought Black Adam was going to be something, man. The movie would have been, you had freaking Dr. Fate in a movie, man. You know what I mean? And you just you blew it with the villain.
How do you mess up Dr. Fate, bro? How do you mess? Not to say that they messed him up, because I like Pierce Brosnan as an actor and I thought that was cool, but like like, yo, there was so many opportunities. I was so excited to see Dr. Fate.
Remember what they forgot, man. They do what they do outside of every Batman movie except for Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad. You forget the villain. The villain has to be menacing. The villain has to be. I have to be on the brink of my seat, saying, "Oh my God, what is going to happen here?" They don't do that outside of the Joker, man. It's there, and they got the best freaking villains, and they just lay an egg every time, man. That's all I got for this segment, man. Superman's. I love Superman, man. It's a great character, dude. He just, he's awesome, dude. He's hope, dude. I don't know what else to say, man. I just got to be hopeful, man, and be positive.
I'm hoping too. I mean, like I said, Superman is our guy, and we want to see him done right. We want to see him done well. I want a good Superman trilogy. That's just all I've wanted, man. Since I was a little kid and Christopher Reeve, we haven't gotten like a proper just Superman series, 4 films, whatever. We just haven't gotten that. And that's all I'm looking for. Hey, give me 3 Superman films. Bam, there we go. Okay. All by himself, not side characters, not team ups, none of that. No Justice League. No, that's not a part of it. Okay. Man of Steel 2, Man of Steel 3, or Man of Steel Tomorrow, or whatever, Man of Tomorrow, and then All-Star Superman, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Just give me a proper Superman trilogy. I would die happy. Okay. I'd be perfectly fine with that. And I don't know if James Gunn directing this, because like I said, it's his style. And the question I have is, will he be able to give us the Superman we're looking for, or is he going to put some sort of a spin on it? I'm not saying he's going to do like a Brightburn with it, where you got like an evil Superman, although that could be interesting. But I think that, we just want to see like a classic Superman film, and then go off and do all of your little other stuff if that's what you choose to do. You want to spin them around, do this or that or whatever. Okay. Give me the classic, like, definitive Superman movie, and I'm good. That's the way I feel. But anyway, folks, what do y'all think about James Gunn directing Superman? Is this going to be a good move? Okay. Is this going to be the movie? Is this what you expected to see from this particular character? Even though we know James Gunn was going to write it, but did you expect him to direct it and have complete creative control? Go ahead, get down in the comments. Give me your opinions on that. All right, Fee, we're going to, T, we're going to shift gears. We're going to talk about the state of entertainment, okay? Something we always try to discuss, what's the state of entertainment? What's going on in entertainment right now? And one of the things that we got, of course, is, basically the woke have absolutely taken over Hollywood, bow to stern. I don't think there's any like regular people making movies anymore. I mean, everybody's woke to some degree. Every single studio has some sort of a DEI initiative. We got to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion. All right. And it permeates itself throughout all of their content. It permeates itself through everything. It's weird when you get a movie like Top Gun Maverick that doesn't have any of that stuff in it. Okay, that's the reason why that movie kind of took off. It was like, damn, this is the one film that I can go out and take my family to see, and I don't have to worry about there being anything in there that I disapprove of, okay, or that I'm not here to watch. There's not going to be any preaching, politics, nothing. It's just a nice story about a guy coming back, 30 some odd years later to teach a group of young pilots to run this particular dangerous mission. That's it. And it was awesome, okay, and it made over $1.5 billion, I think, somewhere in that range. And, why is it that Hollywood can't figure this out? Why do they keep going back to the woke crap? This is the part that I don't understand. I did a little bit of a topic on that on a previous video, but T, I wanted to hear your thoughts on wokeness is putting companies like Disney in turmoil. Hollywood has politics problems. Give me your thoughts on that.
I think wokeness is been misconstrued. The intention of it has been somehow hijacked. I thought it was just to make you aware of things that you weren't aware of here, that you're just being you're sleeping on this, and here's the idea. You've heard me say several times, hey man, how you got a room full of writers, man, and they still see people in the same circumstance as they are in real life? This is fantasy. It ought to be story. And I think the excuse for wokeness is it's an excuse not to have character development, an excuse not to do story, not to have plot points that make sense. There's a lot of MacGuffins in movies now. that you see because of this wokeness. I don't want to see politics necessarily played on something that I see as fiction, you know, right? It sounds good in theory, but what's actually happening is not what's being projected on film. It feels like pushing something that has nothing to do with me, nothing to do with anything I identify for, right? And if you're going to change everything from the top, period. But you cannot crack an egg, and that's what Hollywood's trying to do. They're trying to beat you over the head with omelets when you're saying, man, I don't even want breakfast anymore. It's not even breakfast time. It's freaking lunch. It's dinner.
Yeah, we're on lunchtime now. It's lunch hour. You guys are on breakfast.
Right.
And that's the problem, like with society in general, like a lot of the stuff that we've seen come through the world has already kind of come and gone. It's like, okay, let's move on to the next, thing. We already conquered, a lot of issues and stuff. Is there racism and is there sexism? Is there all kinds of problems in various communities? Of course there is. There will always be. Okay. Those things have been addressed tons of time. Not only that, but I don't think Hollywood is necessarily the place to go and address all of that stuff. You can touch on it, but it's not the place to go for that. What's that?
Hold on. Notice they're not trying to cure the situation. They're just trying to treat the symptom. They're not trying to cure anything. Curing is to say, hey, listen, I'm going to take these writers from here and here, and I'm going to have them talk to these old writers and say, hey, what would you have done differently in this? How did you come up with the story? How is your schooling relevant to what the basic formula is? Because there's a formula to how you make these movies, right? A successful movie has a formula. Right. Why aren't you trying to do those formulas and say, hey, listen, all right, this didn't work, but this will work, right? If your theory behind this is we're going to do test subjects and test audience, they remade a show a few years ago called The 100, right? They remade
yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
4400, the 4400. It was
okay.
400. You remade the 4400. It was a great show in the early 2000s, and you came back now with this woke icon. And these actors and actresses are trash. Just say it. They're trash. Right.
Now, T, I want to get your opinion on this because this was something else that had popped up, and I thought this was absolutely insane. This is on Bounding in the Comics, and it says California proposing to withhold new tax credits from Hollywood productions unless they set ethnic, racial, and gender diversity goals and develop a plan to achieve them. Now, this is how far this woke stuff has got, because now instead of actually saying, all right, you guys, if you do some sort of a, racial or diversity or, goal or whatever, you set something up, maybe we'll give you a little bit of a bonus. I did an article, or I did a video about that, where I looked at an article where they're basically saying, yeah, if you do these things, you will get a bonus, right? Like a 4% like credit, will give you more money. But instead, now what they plan on doing is punishing these cats by withholding tax credits if they don't do it. All right. So it's almost like a tax.
How could that even be legal to do that? How? How could that be legal? But they're gonna scare you folks and do the right thing. Why, man?
It starts off like it says right here. It may not be illegal yet. It says it right there. It's absolutely illegal. How is this even? But again, if you make if California, we know we live in California, man. California is woke as the sun is shining. All right. And if California wants to push this and punish this, what's going to happen. All of these projects in Hollywood, let's get up out of here, man. It's only a 3-hour ride to Vegas. It's not that far away. And this is 8 Vegas studios out there, okay? They'll just move over and start doing everything in a different state where they don't have to worry about this stuff. I mean, it's like California has lost its ever-loving mind at this point.
Well, we know that's a whole other thing. You can't afford to live in the structure that it is. It's not sustainable. It doesn't have a sustainable model.
And here's the other thing. Look at this, man. So let's say, because they're saying, yeah, we got to nail these demographics. So you're going to have to hire a crew that's 41% white, 6% black, right? Only 6% of the people in the state of California are black, according to the 2020 census. 40% Hispanic, 15% Asian, 1.6 Native American American Indian or an Alaska Native, okay? And then you have 0.4% Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander, 21% is some other race. Like, how do you quantify this on a movie set? Are you going to have to go around with everybody? Okay, yeah, you look like you might be mixed.
How's that? sense? How does that math make sense? 41%.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Hispanic. That's 81%. It's 15% Asian. What happened to black folks? Black folks ain't here no more. Where we go?
Bro, we 6%, man.
That's still in the jail, dude. Come on.
Yeah. We've killed off our population because we believe in abortion and dumb shit like that. That's basically where it's at. But beyond that, this is the issue. Yeah, let's not get started on that. But that's my point, right? Is that we have these issues, like we have real issues in this state when it comes to like the tax laws. And now it seems like that they are going out of their way to chase business out, like you already got Elon Musk. He already took business up out of the state. He's in Texas now. I think like Hewlett Packard also went to Texas. You got companies just fleeing the state, and here's California saying, oh yeah, we're going to tax you guys. We're going to hit you guys with some extra or withhold tax credits from you. Okay. Unless you do all of this stuff. Okay. Unless you meet some weird diversity goals that absolutely mean absolutely nothing whatsoever. That's the stuff that kills me.
Listen. One thing I know for sure.
Yeah.
One thing I think that it is a good thing, the diversity that they're trying to present. I think what you're trying to do is you're trying to force it on people that are uncomfortable with it, man. You're not going to you didn't do this thing right. You're trying to force feed something down the throat of people, man. When I'm looking at those statistics, man, I should see more Asians. I should see more Hispanics on TV, dude. I should see everybody else on TV, dude. I should see whites too. It ought to be a free-flowing society, man. You know what I mean? Like, why can't everything be like Star Trek, dude? Star Trek.
Well, it's not going to be that way because of personal interests,
Yeah,
like, but personal interests come into play.
But if you have the story there, it works great, man. Nobody's tripping, dude. Nobody's tripping. This is one of the most diverse states ever, dude. And nobody's tripping, man. You go to San Francisco, man, ain't no issues, man. Ain't no issue. Dude, everybody gets along with everybody. You go to San Diego. It's only like that in LA, dude, where they make these superficial things, man. Where the media makes things different. Now we're talking about entertainment media. It's something totally different, dude. But the media projects that stuff out into the world, dude. The divisive things, dude. It can't. Like, most people aren't really tripping. It's show me the law that says, hey, I have to like you, or I have to do this, or I have to.
You sound like Scott Adams right now, man.
Just
There's no law about that. You're right. There's no law that says that.
There's no law. And I think
I wanted to show you this. Now peep this. This was this is in 21 Hollywood unions, Latino and Asian American representation. I guess they didn't have the black numbers, okay? But you can see 40%, roughly 40% of California, like the previous thing said, is Asian. About 15% of California's population, or excuse me, is Latino. Sorry. About 40% is Latino. About 15% is Asian, okay? Now, when you go through this and you look at this particular chart, check this out. 52% of the Hollywood unions of laborers are Latino. Okay, 51% are plumbers. So they're overrepresented in this category. All right. Whereas you have, look at the Asians. They're not trying to be laborers or plumbers or electrical workers or plasterers. Okay. Their numbers are way, way down. But where are their numbers up at? Animators. Okay. Look at this. Animators, Asians are 16.6%. That tells me that this all is about personal choice. What people are choosing to do. They want to be animators. Okay. Okay. To the tune of they're overrepresented. All right. They're only 15% of the population, but they're 16% of the animators. All right. So this tells me that, all right, yeah, they're almost 17%. So they're overrepresented in this particular category on personal choice. I feel like that's where Hollywood is missing the boat, is that when you come back and you say, oh, we got to make the Hollywood based off of this. It's like, well, do 6% of black people want to do those particular jobs? Do, 40% of Hispanics or whatever want to do certain jobs? They don't. People should be allowed to just do whatever they want to do based on personal choice, right, instead of trying to force them to be, oh, we need this many white people doing this many black people doing this. No, do what you want to do. Fine. If you're interested in it, do it, but don't try to force it, because this is where you start getting into the diversity quotas and all of that. And you know what diversity quotas will do to a business.
But you're not promoting encouragement. You're promoting discouragement. And that's the thing that like saying.
I'm promoting discouragement.
No, I'm not you. I'm saying that this article.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, yeah.
The agenda seems to be It's not promoting, encourage. It's saying, hey, listen, we tried that. Boom, let's cancel the series. Oh, you can't say we didn't give you this. And I just think it just doesn't work, man. It doesn't work overall. And I think that most people would say, man, you know, like most all this is about finances, right? So this is about finance and what's going to give me the opportunity to finance the kind of lifestyle I'd like to give myself. Nobody wants to be in a messed up circumstance. I'm down. I know where they're homeless people. I see them all the time. They're all different races, all different creeds, right? Genders, whatever. But you know, nonetheless, it's a financial problem and a personal responsibility and choice. What you said, right? Now, if they were really interested in trying to put people back to work and trying to make an economy that makes sense for everybody involved, you're going. It doesn't exist because the whole word of fair is an idea. It's an idea, not something that somebody can always live by, right? Because it's in the eye of the beholder. This whole thing with these demographics and trying to force people in, if it's not done organically, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. The whole concept of a diversity quota, number one, is racist. But then the second part is it usually fails because you start putting people in who maybe have kind of an interest in it. Okay. They kind of maybe get a little bit interested. Oh, you're hired. Okay. Come on in here and get to work. And then that person is like behind the 8 ball because there's people that, you know, have a real interest in it and they've studied and they've, you know, like lived their life doing this and they've been overlooked. Okay. To just satisfy a diversity quota, okay?
Right,
like, oh, we can't hire this white guy or we can't hire this Asian guy. It's like, come on, hire the best person for the job. That's what people should be looking for. Especially,
you ever see NFL sideline? You ever see an NFL sideline? You see the players are primarily black.
Yeah,
these people who have value, they seem to have value, right? The other supporting staff is non-black and I would say 85% non-black, right? And yet they are telling the people who are of value, who are of superior value, who are on the field, putting their lives on the line, doing what they got to do, putting their body on the line. They're black, right? It's an idea. It looks great, dude. But like, if we don't have positions that really count and matter, dude, which is support staff and other things, it's all for naught, man. And I see a lot of talk, but no action. And then when
it goes back to, but you know what it goes back to, T, again, I'd say it goes back to personal choice. How many of these cats, after they get out of the NFL, want to go and do those jobs? How many of those want to be the support staff? Or how many want to graduate up to the level of coaching? You know,
but I'm in the real world just like you. I have degrees. Look, let me tell you something. It does not mean it means about as much of what's on the back of a ketchup bottle.
Right.
It's nothing but the ingredients, right? But unless somebody picks me up and uses me like they need to, then I'm useless, right? So that's what I don't like about this whole diversity thing. It's like you're trying to force people to do things. They're like, I don't want to, and we know what that's all about. I don't want to say it on the show. We know what that's all about, man. And the sad part about it is, you know, through all that stuff that you put on there about this diversity hire, how many black men benefit from that? There's few benefit.
Again, it's going back to well, like I said, it's about, you know, the choices that individual people make. You know, it's kind of like, you know, when they say, oh, we need more women in you know, police roles, or we need more women in science and this and that. And it's like, how many women are interested in science? How many interested in being that? They don't, you know, it's all about interest. It's all about what do you really want to do with your life. A lot of women be like, oh, I wanted to do this, but then they drop out after 5 years once they get it down because they want to go and be a mom. And there's nothing wrong with that.
That's the thing. That's why the wokeness stuff, they don't owe you anything.
Right.
Anything. And that's all. That's what I'll close at. They don't owe you anything.
Perfectly said. All right, folks. That's it, man. We're all out of topics, T. It was nice getting back. We're going to have to do this again. Every weekend like we used to. Now that we got the setup and we know how to get this thing cracking, we're going to go back to our regular schedule. We'll probably have to go live one of these days.
I would love to.
Okay, and invite the audience into the conversation so we can just have fun and discuss Hollywood and the nonsense that goes on here. And then, you know, of course, get into some deeper topics, T. But yeah, definitely appreciate you jumping in with me, man. been a long time, and I'm glad we was able to get it done today.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, everybody, if you like my videos, if you like the content, subscribe. Like I said, we're gonna try to get the live thing going. It's gonna be some bumps in the road. We're gonna have to kind of get used to our rhythm and flow like we used to have once again, but we'll get it back. And we hope that you guys join us and come along with the ride. All right, so this is going to be another episode of Movies with the Homies. Look, I'm already messing that up. Movies with the Homies in the books. All right, and I want to appreciate everybody for watching. Thanks T for showing up, and yeah, we'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Next time, y'all. See you.